Hello everyone, Maurice here, today I'm bringing you another meta report for Axie Infinity Origins Season 8. Now it's a late epic era, but to be honest, there's really not much to update because the meta is kind of the same as last week. Like Feather, Poison are both at the top, and I guess one thing to note maybe is that the Fury aggro is kind of not as strong as maybe Feather and Poisons because they can't really maybe push up to the very top. But still, they're still very strong. It's like definitely, like in this case, the light blue here, right? The higher challenger, or at least like the mid challenger, I would say, is the mostly where Fury aggro you'll find those. I guess the other update might be that Perch is not climbing as much as we thought it will, so or at least as I thought it will. So okay, let's just get into the player base statistics first. Definitely, the player base increase has slowed down quite a bit. So, of course, last time there were about 20k players coming in, and this week, well, will only be about 10k. So, obviously, as the players are already doing the play to rise, is that what's the phrase called, right? Yeah, the daily mission thing, right, already, then there are not that many new players joining. I would say like 10k is still not bad, but it's now effectively comparable to previous figures, I must say. So, in that sense, it's kind of back to normal in a way. And another statistic that I would note is that actually, in terms of number of players at Challenger and the number of players at even Dragon and Tiger, if we compare it to effectively same time last season, it's pretty much, I won't say exactly the same, but like roughly the same, right? So meaning that's really, in a way, the player base is quite stable. I feel like it's mostly the same players who are playing. Yeah, and I don't think there's that much changes. So in that sense, I'm not sure if it's good news or bad news. At least people are not that many people are leaving the game, but also not many people are joining the game. So yeah, that's how I see it. Or at least the number of people joining and leaving are kind of roughly the same. So okay, let's just get into the archetype usage. And so this is where you can see at the top, of course, only got 10 players. So mostly playing Feather. So Feather is really, I would say, the main archetypes. Uh, yeah, at the top, Poison actually is also doing okay as well at the top. So those are the two that are the most viable at the top. Fear Argo is kind of pushing there, but I would say not quite like to the very top. Let's put it that way. But still, of course, still very strong. Mostly at high to mid challenger, which is still quite good. Yeah, Jinx is actually not bad as well. Yeah, Nominate Perch is the one that is really I thought could perform pretty well, but I guess based on the meta now, with even though there's so much poison, but there's just not enough, I guess, because Perch is very good against poison, but yeah, it's too much Fury aggro. Feather is also not its best matchup, and so on. So yeah. One thing and another thing to note is that Eggshell Mavis and all those are still around, I would say, which is a good thing. So, yeah, again, meta is pretty diverse if you just don't look at the top 100, basically. Okay, our top 200. So this is something I want to show. It's just it's not my figure, I must say, right? It's from Axie.top, so that's actually another new Axie, well, Origins leaderboard kind of website. So it gives you different sort of infographic, but of course similar story or similar information in that sense. But if you prefer that interface, then do go for it. As you can see, this is actually the top 1,000 players, and yeah, so still a lot of rage as you can see here. Right, top 1,000 would be roughly like the top 3 to 4, yeah, so even yeah, top 4 maybe I would say like roles in this, and yeah, so still a lot of rage. Well, rage in this case, if Fury aggro in my case, yeah, Purge is still quite a bit going on, but it can't really go up to the top. Yeah, I feel like certain different archetypes hit a different wall. That's basically how I see it. Okay, so let's just get into the archetype win rates. And as you can see, the win rates are Poison, Feather. Those are the two that are doing very well at the top. Actually, interestingly, Leafy is actually doing not bad. Fury Aggro, of course, is still good, but it's just like kind of hitting a wall. Eggshell Mavis is also hitting a wall, but it's also doing pretty well. Just because there's so much Fury Aggro around, and Eggshell Mavis is so good against it. So Sustain is interesting here. Okay, so in this case, I think it's just one particular triple turnip team that I guess I label as sustain, but it could be a separate category basically. But yeah, so other than that, yeah, not too much to say. Yeah, Perch is the one that is really like the numbers are going down. Partly I think it's because people are learning how to play against it for sure. So that's why it's, yeah, of course, a lot of people are attacking against this Rage and Feather in general. The spell really hurts Perch quite a bit. Yeah, so otherwise the rest is pretty similar. In terms of matchup as well, I must say again pretty similar. Not much to say really. I think it's just that the Poison really hates Perch, but then Perch really hates like Fury Aggro and Jinx and stuff. So there's always some checks. I will say again, similarly, the main one that doesn't really have much check is Feather. They there are some, of course, like bad matchup, like in the form of like spikes and sustain, that kind of thing, but they're just not very popular at the top just because their power level is just not as strong. So I think that's why Feather is just having such a good time in terms of just the win rate. But imagine that if all the top is like spikes, then it's a different story, but it's just spikes can't really get up there just because of the power level difference. Yeah, to be honest, that's pretty much it. I guess in conclusion, is that I think for a lot of players, actually including myself, I feel like this is kind of the end of the season for me, because these mystic items are just a bit too difficult and too costly to get, basically. Maybe if the changes with like the scrap and crafting system, maybe there'll be more players who actually like play mystic, but well, Mystic items in the Mystic era, but we'll see. Of course, the top players will still do that, but I wonder how many people, even at the top 1,000, right, will actually invest significantly in getting the Mystic items. Okay, yeah, as usual, do check out the blog post and yeah, also yeah, do use my Lunacian code Maurice if you want to support me. And yeah, that's it for this video, and I'll see you in the next one.